Hello and welcome to another edition of the GH30 Deeds here on JLJ Media. I'm James Lott Jr. It is rare that I will actually cover a character years later after covering them on another show. On James Media Spotlight, before it was a recap show, I spotlighted Jake, like what I call at the time, Jake Weber Spencer or Jake Weber, Morgan Spencer's night. But on GH Baseball, there's an episode some years ago here on Judge Media. You can watch it. But I talk about, I called him Creepy Jake when he was younger, when he first came back from Cassadine Island. Well, this week, they actually brought up briefly Jake being on the Cassadine Island with Helena. I thought, ooh, and soaps don't mention things just because, right? There's always a reason why they mention something. So right now, as you know, the current storyline in General Hospital is that Liz is being gaslit by somebody. Somebody is like doing all this stuff about Franco, blah, blah. Now, people have been speculating that it's a DID story that's actually Elizabeth as someone else, thinking she's somebody else blacking out and doing this to herself. I don't think they're going that direction anymore. They actually brought in Betsy, who was Franco's adoptive mother. Had the actress, everything came back on, and that was interesting. Then he showed Jake one day this week, having some weird looks and stuff, and some cool hair from the 70s. And I'm going to go back and go, okay, for GH30 Deeds, this actually fits this show. I should put him on this show a long time ago. I don't know why I didn't do that. Oh, no, I don't remember. Lucretia was doing the lead for that show. That's for this show. That's right. So now I'm actually years later revisiting a few things about him. So Jacob Martin, Jason Morgan, right? Jacob Martin, Jake Spencer, is Elizabeth and Jason's son. Lucky was his legal father. Presumed dead by Grandpa Luke, hitting him by accident and drunk. Came back after all these years, 4 years on Castle Island with Helena. And they played up his creepiness. He did a few things, and I was hoping they would do more, get into it more. But here's some of the crimes he committed. His dirty deeds, as we say. Pushed his brother Cameron into a shelf, lied about seeing a man in a window, pretended there was a stalker in an effort to bring his parents together, smashed a family photo, making it appear that someone had thrown a rock through the window. I remember that. Left Sam in the basement, thinking she was dead. Probably could have left her there. Ran away in fear of what he thought he had done. Ran away from General Hospital, was discovered at Franco Baldwin's place. Evaded babysitter, went to Franco's art studio. Ran away and went to Franco's art studio. Shoved Charlotte Cassadine and unleashed the Chimera, a deadly toxin. Well, recently, silent. Not really much. I haven't seen much of him. Every 6 months or so, he comes out. Don't really do much with him now. When he returned, it was also linked with the Jake Doe storyline of Jason returning, right? So Billy Miller played it, and so Jake Doe became Jake, which became Jason, which became Drew Kane. But Jake and Jake were drawn together. Loved that part of the storyline. They were drawn together, and then it turned out they were really close, and it just became this whole thing. And Liz lied, and I ruined her and Jake / Jason / Drew. It gets really complicated after a while. But either way, that kid, it was James Neighbor, how you pronounce his name. He was great. He was great as Jake. So that, he did all these things, but they kind of dropped it. And I wanted some more Cassadine connection stuff. So now with all this stuff with Victor Cassadine being back, when they grab the Cassadines, there's Franco stuff going on. As she mentioned, and there was that time he was on Cassadine Island. I'm like, ooh, could Jake be going a little psycho? Because Cameron was going a little bonkers, but now he's on a straight and narrow. Aiden's the good kid, which they never really finished his storyline either. Like, kind of that he was feeling he was othered or something. You get what I mean? They haven't really done anything with that. But Jake being a bad seed or something because of Helena, and I'm having to kind of save him out of this, I would love that kind of storyline. I'm all down. I'm down with that. So revisit it. Those Cassadines afoot. They're here. Great. Let's do that. Would it be funny if that card that Drew Kane gave, pretending that it was programmed him, Jake sees that it programs Jake? That'd be kind of funny. I don't know, friends. But Yes. Yeah. So let's bring that part of the storyline back and aid into his mischievousness of sorts. A lot of these kids are like their parents being with somebody else, which is normal. It happened to me in my life too, one of my parents. So I totally get it. You want your original parents together, you don't want anybody else, and that's a childhood thing, and then actually like, we turn to something really big. I'm James Lott Jr. We do the J Streaming Spotlight recap every Sunday at 1 p.m. Me and Frank Moran on JLJ Media Live. We have a great audience. Thanks for this. And everybody, thank you for listening to the show and watching the show continuously. It's one of my top 10, 15, 20 shows every week on this network, JLJ Media, and we appreciate that. We're on every streaming service. So you can find us on every streaming service on the GH Dirty Deeds. Or you can find us on almost like YouTube. There is YouTube, JLJ Media. I'm James Lott Jr., and we'll see you next time for another Dirty Deed.